Hello, it's Jon Binnie here. I'm your spiritual psychic mentor here in Scotland, and I'm delighted to bring to you today channeled messages, which I'll do in real time in this recording, from Mother Gaia, from my spirit guides, archangels, Galactic Federation, Sol, Luna, and any other beings that I specifically name and invite into the safe space that we create. And a key theme that's been building up, and you may well resonate with this, is those feelings of anger and rage that are being triggered within each of us. So if you're interested in helping understand what we're going through just now, why we're going through it, and how to help each of us work through these extremely challenging and emotional times for humanity, please do stick around and join in this practice. So first of all, I'll be creating a safe space, and safe spaces are so important so that I can bring in messages, channel them in safely, and that you can also receive them safely through me. And if you'd like to join me creating a safe space, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in through the nose. And breathe out what no longer serves, your highest good, nice and loud. Breathe in through the nose. And breathe out any fear, shame, anxiety, or pain, nice and loud. And breathe in through the nose, nice and deep. And breathe out any remaining low vibration energy or emotion that no longer serves you, nice and loud. Continue to breathe deeply and calmly as it feels right for you. And focus your attention now on the very center of your heart, where the golden light of your divine spark, your very soul, enters your human form. And from the center of your heart, extend a cord of light up through the top of your head. Reach up into the sky and up into the stars. Reach all the way up through the highest frequencies and dimensions of this universe, until you reach the highest dimension of the source of love of this universe. And there, connecting your light cord to the highest dimension of source. Feel into that oneness, unity, and unconditional love. Remain connected into source and extend your light cord down to the stars and sky, back down to the top of your head and into your heart once more. And now this time, from the center of your heart, extend your cord of light downwards, down through the base of your spine and deep into the earth. Reach all the way down through the layers of the planet, all the way down until you reach the very core of Mother Earth, and there connect in your light cord into Mother Gaia's crystalline heart. And we send Mother Gaia so much love at this time. Allow her to send her love back. Remain connected into Gaia's heart and extend your light cord back up through the layers of the planet, up through the root of your spine and into your heart once more. And now, together with the light of Source above, Mother Gaia below, and your own light, expand out your golden bubble of protective light from the center of your heart to about 2 meters out to each side, above and below, in front and behind you. And set the intention that only energies and entities with your permission, your highest good love and compassion can see you, access you, or exist within this space or within you, and that all other energies and entities must leave immediately. Into your safe space, invite in your spirit guides, your higher self, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Source, and Gaia. Ask for their guidance, clearing, healing, protection, and assistance with the integration of today's messages. And now, through space and time, I create a golden protective bubble around all of us who engage with this video. And I set the intention for this session space that only energies and entities, with my permission and the highest good love and compassion of all, can see us, access us, or exist within this space or within us, and that all other energies and entities must leave immediately. Inviting in my spirit guides, my higher self, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Source, and Gaia Sol and Luna, and also members of my spirit guide team who are members of the Galactic Federation. And we ask at this time for messages for the highest good of all who engage with this video. We would like to better understand the emotional changes that we are going through on the planet at this time, how to navigate our anger and rage, and also messages for upcoming changes, for predictions of our coming days, weeks, and months, and any other messages for our highest good. And so it is. Okay. So Mother Gaia is wanting to come forwards first. Now, before that, bear with me. I'm going to have a little bit of coffee. Okay. And just allowing Mother Gaia now to come forwards. Yes, Mother Gaia, please step into me at this time. Bring forward messages for our highest good, including the challenges that we experience regarding rage and anger and so much more at this time. Welcome. Welcome, beautiful, beautiful children of Earth. I come to you sharing the same emotions that you have. You could say that I have been somewhat ahead of the conscious acknowledgement of the shadows and fears and suffering that exist across the planet. I have been somewhat ahead of humanity, your collective consciousness. I say this because for hundreds of years now, I have been feeling the constant suppression and submersion of anger, suffering, fear, pain, shame pushed deep beneath the crust of my skin, of the earth, and deep down into my layers. These moments of suppression are beginning to be released. You have witnessed this already from earth events, geological, meteorological, and more. You can also see an interplay between myself and the soul of the sun, Sol. You can see and feel the changes. They are palpable and very real as we prepare to exit your month of February. If you feel deep inside of you, you will notice that each human across this world has a connection. You have a connection which is part of your collective consciousness. A share, a portion of your conscious mind, your conscious heart is shared with all beings of your race, all humans. And you're going through great turmoil because for the first time, truly, in Earth's history, humanity is beginning to face your full shadows, your fears. And what is extremely challenging for humans is that your collective fears are often not your own. And remember that if you are on a journey to continually raise your vibrations, that you've been facing your own fears and working through them, and you've been working hard on your ascension path, then there is a gap, a growing gap between yourself and the collective. Humanity is facing its collective shadow, its collective fears. Those that seek to control you now are offering bait. You could describe this as anger and rage bait. They are offering the scraps of those that they have exiled from within their own societies, their own clubs, their own organizations, their own families. They offer these sacrifices to show you that it is an opportunity for you to connect in to your anger and rage towards these individuals. This baiting process is designed to whip up humanity into a frenzy. Firstly, humanity is ill-equipped, similar to a young child when you first experience your angers and your rages. Humanity does not yet know how to process these feelings. And if anything, once you are baited, once you are drawn into the news, the media, once you're drawn into the stories, the truths that are being brought forwards about what individuals have done, often using your own money, your own country, your own enforcement authorities. As that energy rises up within you, you're not sure how to process it. Humanity is not yet prepared to process its own anger and rage. In part, it's because humanity has not yet grasped that we're all in this together, all of humanity, all living things across the planet, and myself, including myself, Mother Gaia. So I come to you with a practice, and I ask Jon's assistance to help express this as a human. Firstly, I'd like you to imagine those moments when you're drawn into your anger. When you're drawn into anger, clicking on videos, watching TV of the very things that incite within you and ignite within you that fire. And it is addictive. It is a fear. Anger is a reaction to this fear. Your desire, your hunger for justice and truth to be shared and expressed across this world. This is the same feeling I, as a planet, my body, feels as the anger that has been suppressed for hundreds of years exists beneath the crust of the earth. That magma gets ready to turn to lava. So I'd like you to take a moment to take one deep breath now in through the nose and out through the mouth, nice and loud. And bring forwards that feeling coming up from the pit of your stomach. Those angry, fiery feelings that you have felt, the injustice, the inequality, the suppression, the control, the corruption, the abuse. Allow it to come up into your heart and begin to feel it now. Feel your own feelings. Feel your own anger. And please see this as you face this feeling now, as you encourage it in your heart. Say, I see you. I see you, anger. I feel you, anger. I love you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I love you. I'm ready to release you. And please join me if you choose to roar like Jon's dragon now. And as that energy is released from your body, and you move your body gently, as that cloud of low vibration energy is released into the atmosphere, ask this energy, what lessons do I have to learn? What reflections of me exist within this? What can I do to learn from this energy, from these experiences of humanity? What do I choose for my new world, for my new earth I am co-creating? How can I see and feel this energy through the eyes of love? And as you gather up this released energy, please hold it in a protective golden bubble and hand to your left to return to source, or to never return here again, and just to leave Earth and to release. And you can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, nice and loud. With this, I return you to Jon. Thank you, beautiful souls. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mother Gaia. Let's get a little drink. I would love to hear in the comments how that practice felt for you. For me, the energy I released out of my body was so much darker than I realized. I could see in my third eye this dark cloud just around me, in front of me, that I'd released. And the message I received this morning from my spirit guide Maya is that that cloud of dark energy is part of a trap. It is the kind of marketing tagline for this. You could describe it as a rage baiting trap to hold you in the third dimension, to hold you down. Many of you have been coming to me saying, I'm tired, I'm worn out, I'm exhausted. And that's a newer feeling to you. And with everything that's going on around in the world, with all of the news that we're seeing, and I'm not afraid of saying the Epstein Files, the royals in the UK, and there's many countries, and this is just all the tip of the iceberg, right, that is affected. These actions, remembering that the news, as it were, is being released by the very people and the very authorities that are perpetrators. So these are the same people that have held this information back for many years and continued on and allowed, at very least, some of those same atrocities to continue. And these are the people that are now releasing this information to us. And there's this, how to describe it? There's this control approach that I'm witnessing, which is that when something is inevitable, a bit like you feel like you're driving your car, right? And you feel like you're going to crash, then there's this kind of aspect of trying to keep control as much as you can, even though the crash feels inevitable. And that you do everything you can to minimize the impact of the crash. So those currently who consider themselves in control of this planet, who try and continue to control us with fear, they're trying to control as much as they can, as they already know that they have lost. They already know that they've lost control of the planet. They already know that you and I, our hearts are waking up, are opening up. And so what they're trying to do is to slow us down, right? To try and control the narrative, control the path. Some of this is a distraction, right? So some of this is like a really simple approach to all of our mainstream media, including our social media, that ignites fear and anger within you. is to say, this is a distraction. There are those that seek to control us, want this information to distract us from what's going on inside of us. Because guess what's happening inside of you right now? You're going through an ascension. Chances are, if you're watching this video, especially if you've stuck around 20 minutes in, you're going through your own ascension journey, your own open heart awakening. You're transforming from within. And it's this world that you are co-creating together with me and everyone else whose hearts are going through their awakenings, their openings. Every time you face a fear, every time you allow something deep and dark to rise up inside of you and you face it and you feel it and you forgive it and you love it and you release it and you learn from it, you're changing the world from within. This world does not change outside of us. This world changes from within each of us. And that's why I'm so obsessed about my own personal development, because I'm doing my very best to lead by example within. And yesterday I shared a couple of videos. One, I released a video called Darkness Filters or Filtering, about people behaviors that filter out their darkness so that it's much harder to detect those shadows, those fears within them. I also shared a video of me visiting some standing stones in England called Devil's Arrows. There was huge standing stones. And it was Jon, me 6 years ago. And at least one of you commented about the difference in me in that 6 years. And yeah, I found it quite astounding. I was incredibly nervous, which is one thing, right? It's a very human thing. 6 years later, getting a lot more practice on YouTube is helpful. I also felt within me this kind of, that version of me 6 years ago was quite jittery. I could sense that back then I was working full time at Amazon as a senior software manager. And I was constantly in fight or flight. Even though I was going through my awakening journey, I was meditating every day. I was doing a lot of good things. My body was kind of like this, like this kind of shaking wreck, right? And another reason why I video so much is because I love to record these continued changes in me. And I never want to forget the version of me that I used to be yesterday, a year ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. Okay, I'd still be in the womb, but I'm 50 this year. So coming back to Mother Gaia's message, I want to be really clear. I too feel that energy in the collective. I've been drawn into clicking on videos and sometimes watching them with my wife about, especially what's happening in the UK, evidence coming through from the Epstein Files, police investigations, or even like the lack of police investigations. Police investigations not including reporters who have been working on these topics for decades. You know, lots of like a continued escalation in those feelings of anger. And that feeling of, oh, what have they done now? Or what has come through now? And I want to make it really, really clear, one of the biggest parts of this healing journey that we're going through, this transformation we're going through inside, is to really acknowledge that, right? Acknowledge that we're kind of built like this, right? As humans, that when we see injustice, when we feel these experiences going on, it's almost like this primordial feeling within us to protect other members of our species, right? Other humans, other living things. When we see injustice or suffering in others, we want to act. And so it's the journey starts with an action of emotion rising, just like Mother Gaia was describing magma turning to lava, turning to volcanoes, right? And it's quite funny because if you imagine we didn't have those first steps. Imagine we skipped anger turning into rage, and rage is more of the kind of action of anger. And we didn't even have those emotions, right? We just jumped straight into action. It would be complete chaos right now, right? We'd just be like, everyone would just be like, oh, it's just something bad. Quick, I'm acting. You just get up out your chair, get off your couch, your sofa, run down the street, find like the nearest person that you were going to do action with, and you would just continue on, right? And you're like, we're not built like that, right? And as humans, what's happening is that energy is like coming up inside these lower aspects of us. And one of the biggest challenges we have is that as individuals, we're not good. We don't even understand yet as a civilization, as humanity, how to process anger and rage. We don't have a kind of a human rights approach or a unified approach to dealing with these emotions. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't need to be some like one size fits all or the Jon Binnie way of releasing your anger. Just roar like a dragon, everyone, right? There are so many ways to release it. So the first thing I'm really concentrating on is acknowledging that I feel it too. I really feel it, and it's addictive, right? And so if before we talk about the feelings of how to release this anger and rage, let's talk about what's happening to us, right, as a consequence. So when we saw that energy rising up from our bellies and into our hearts, and we begin to feel a little bit, it's like this kind of bubbling like pot of like lava, magma and lava, like kind of like just stuck in our hearts. We're programmed, right? Especially in the West here, we're programmed to tell ourselves that this is a bad emotion, that we're not allowed to feel anger and rage, and that we should not express it. So there's this glass ceiling of our own doing, our own making of humanity that says, no, like you're not allowed to feel like this, right? So it sounds ridiculous saying it, but that's how I'm taught. If I walk into my house right now, I mean, my family's still sleeping. It's 7:30 a.m. But if I went in, I would start roaring and shouting and screaming about how I truly feel about the state of the world. I'd wake everyone up, and they'll probably swear a little bit and say like, "What are you doing? Could you stop making so much noise?" And they wouldn't just say, "Wow, you've got there's genuine emotions there that need to be processed. Let's figure out how to get those released, and then let's talk about it." That wouldn't happen, right? They'll just tell you to. Most of humanity at the moment will tell you to shut up, right? And we'll tell ourselves to shut up. And those that choose to control us or try to control us, they know this, right? So what they're doing is they're igniting this anger, and it's bubbling up into rage. So that rage of action of anger, and it's got nowhere to go. So what happens? It goes back into our bodies, right? And remember that big dark cloud I was talking about earlier that I released? And I hope you experience that too. We're being encouraged to hold that, and it is heavy. It is heavy, low vibration emotions in our hearts. Often what our hearts do is try and spread, and I know this from my quantum psychic healing, reflexology, even massage and Indian head massage techniques I do, is that what our hearts do is spread that energy out to other organs, other parts of our body, and that low vibration, that toxic energy of anger and rage is crippling to us, and our body's like, oh. And so you may have experienced like significant fatigue. You may be waking up in the morning going, this is really hard, and then there's a cycle, which is your body and your heart's like, okay, I think we need to kickstart that cycle again. Let's try again. Let's try and get that rage and anger out, right? And so you'll be baited again into like, latest news. such and such high profile figure does this another horrific thing, and you're like, here it comes again, right? And then the energy builds up again, and then you get really angry and rage, and it's all pent up and nowhere to go, and then you suppress it back into yourself, right? And that is a continued like pummeling of our bodies, and our bodies aren't designed for this, right? This happens at both an individual level and then also the collective. And Mother Gaia said something really fascinating, right, about this. I know I'm not the only person to talk about this, about the humanity's shadow. Humanity's not used to this. Up until just a few years ago, we thought humanity was in much better shape than it really is because we were hiding it, right? We're kind of filtering out. We're ignoring those darker aspects of humanity. Let's get really clear. Humanity has an incredibly dark side, and that dark side is rearing its head, is showing itself, right? And it wants to be seen. It's part of you and I. All of what we're experiencing across the world, it's all part of humanity, and we're all in this together. Okay, a little bit of coffee. So I personally understand why I've been drawn into watching more content about online about this kind of rage baiting, fear mongering, anger fueling narrative that's being spewed out into humanity at this time. Because I'm not above this world, right? I'm just a guy, a middle-aged guy, if 49 is middle-aged in Scotland, and I'm just trying to do my best, just like you are, right? What I do feel, and what my spirit guides and Mother Gaia and other beautiful souls are saying is that please beware of this trap. Remember I was talking about the car that's about to crash, that's inevitable. Those that seek to control us know it's about to crash. They know they're about to fully lose control. So what they're trying to do right now is first of all control that car that's out of control, right? Trying their best to kind of keep holding the wheel, even if it's just one hand or a foot or whatever they're doing. And so controlling the narrative. They also want to distract us, right? They don't want us to look inside of ourselves. They want us to keep looking outside, look to the sky, look to politicians, look to world leaders, look to high profile figures that are being pushed forwards as bait for us to consume. And inside of us, they want to distract us from what's going on inside, which is we're kind of creating and generating more toxic, low vibration emotions of fear and anger, and they're holding us down. It's a trap. It's an absolute trap. They want to keep you in the third dimension. They want to keep you trapped in these low vibration emotions. Because let's face it, right? As you're generating more and more anger and rage within you, it becomes harder for you to face that energy within you, to face your own belief systems, your own shadows, your fears. Facing fears is really hard, right? I know this as a fellow human. And so as we go into, and I'm just checking my notes from previous predictions, we've seen, we can see that the world is going through significant change, as Mother Gaia said. And February, I had noted February is the circus, the circus of fear, right? And that Sol, the soul of the sun, has been ingesting and building up more ascension waves. These are waves of energy, of high vibration energy coming through from source, from the very center, the universal star, the sun, universal sun of this universe, flowing into the sun. As we get into March now, getting ready to release this energy. And Sol says, look for bright lights, and including, rainbow colors in the sky. And it feels very positive. It feels like very exciting. My guess is that we'll be told to fear that, right? Fear everything, right? That's the narrative, right? Is like the control narrative is fear everything, because you can fear everything. That's up to you, right? What you fear and what you feel excited about and open-hearted about. And so remember, right? If the fear, the control narrative is to keep you trapped, as these opportunities for us continue to come up, and don't worry, they'll continue to come up, right? So we'll continue to get more and more opportunities to ascend, to raise in our vibrations, to step up into a new earth, a new fourth and fifth dimensional planet, right? That opportunity will never go away for each of us individually. It's just these opportunities are happening right now. So that trap is like, okay, rage bait and culminate and cultivate fear within people so that they kind of hold it in themselves and don't let people express themselves, release that energy, and instead, meet the changes in the world, the suffering that's being exposed with fear, right? With anger, with seeking of revenge, right? Not justice, or not, higher vibration emotions. So they want to keep you from making those choices, from facing those fears within, and from rising up. So a really simple thing to do, right, is stop, right? Stop watching things that rage bait you, that ignite that fear within you. And am I going to stop? Probably not, right? Will I absolutely consciously reduce what I consume? Yes, right? And I'll also, so my guess is, for example, once every 2 or 3 days, I'll check in, because I don't want to turn up on these videos, right, and say, hi, I'm Jon Binnie, everything's perfect, everybody. Just relax, fall into love, let the fear go, roar like a dragon, you'll be fine, right? I still want to have a little bit of connection with that trap that we're all being pulled towards. There will become a time very soon where I just have to stop, right? And it's like, stop, Jon, right? Imagine a world, right, where you didn't even know the internet existed. You didn't even know these things were happening. And you're just focusing on yourself. Lightly, you're doing a lot more for the world just focusing on yourself. Why? Because this whole world transforms within. Why? Because we're all in this together. We're all part of a collective consciousness. And that collective consciousness of humanity is creating this new world together, whether we, in whatever form and whatever vision and whatever vibration, we individually and collectively co-create. So yeah, I was shown very much this practice of, to release the energy. So if you do find yourself, let's face it, you're going to get triggered, right? You're still human, right? Let's not deny any of this. Let's not spiritually bypass any of this stuff. Let's be really clear. You're going to get triggered. So when those triggers come up, when you feel content coming towards you on TV, phone, tablet, conversations with others, newspapers, whatever it is, things happening in your community, as those things come forwards to you, catch them in your heart, right? Notice how your body's sat. I'm often like sat on my couch on my sofa, kind of slouched down, and my heart's kind of like I'm trying to protect my heart a bit with my shoulders kind of hunched over. I'm not like standing there, with my back straight, with my heart open, saying, I'm ready to feel the fear, right? It's much more, I'm kind of like hunched over and feeling a bit grim about everything. And in those moments when you catch yourself, like catch it consciously, right? Ask your heart, heart, place your hand on your heart. How do I feel right now? And as you're watching some content, and these people that are presenting this information to us, and certainly there's those YouTube channels in the UK they're quite lovely people, right? And they're just doing their very best, and they're triggered themselves, and they're doing their very best to face the shadows and to reveal truths and to help ignite, calls for justice and truth, they are themselves also propagating and amplifying that fear and rage, anger, right? And so catch it, right? Say, I can feel it just now, actually, as I've envisioned some of those people that I enjoy watching. Catch in your heart, say, wow, I see you, I feel you. And then we heard that practice from Mother Gaia. First of all, say, I see you, I feel you, allow your heart to feel it. This energy is not going anywhere, and this rage and anger is not going anywhere until you and I feel it. Right? We can't, energy can't be destroyed, right? We can't just put it in a little box and shove it down at the bottom of the ocean of our emotion, on the ocean floor. It can't stay down there. It'll just grow into a giant monster and come up later even worse. So we have to bring it up, right? Bring it up regularly. At the moment, I'm bringing it up every 2 or 3 days. And then as you bring it up, say, I see you, I feel you, thank you. And I always say, I'm sorry. These are, similar patterns to the Ho'oponopono prayer. I always say, I'm sorry, because I'm sorry that these emotions have to exist, that for all the people that have gone through the suffering to trigger this emotion, for all of the experiences I have within me that have generated this emotion, for all of the effect we've had across humanity and the earth at this time. I'm sorry that this has happened. And then saying, thank you for coming up, because anger and rage, they're some of our greatest teachers. And then as it comes up, allowing that energy to come up into your heart and allow it to express. Now, first thing I say is, I forgive you for existing. It's okay, right? My body's always going to have some of these emotions, some of this full spectrum of emotions. It's at different points in my life. And that I love you and I release you. And at this point, now you know me, I love roaring like a dragon. So you can join me if you want. We take a deep breath in through the nose and allow that anger and rage to be released with a big roar. Releasing the energy out. Wow, there was more to come out. And then I hold this in a little golden protective bubble. So I imagine myself holding it in a bubble. And the reason I hold this before letting it travel on and pass out of my atmosphere, out of the earth, is there be lessons in this energy, right? There's things in here. So for example, some of the lessons I'm feeling is that even now, and I hope you get, I know you might not think of me as being like an angry or rageful person. However, you may detect some of those little glimpses of those emotions in me that I've been releasing. And I'm noticing that this lesson for me to learn is that as I continue to communicate this energy, to continue to optimize the way that I connect in with that emotion, and then try my very best not to amplify it or trigger it within you. And so I'm just learning that lesson. This was incited from learned from presenters that I've seen sharing information, and just allowing myself to witness them and my response. And then when I'm presenting to you, to learn better ways of doing this. And then I'm going to release this energy, this protective bubble, holding that energy. And with my left hand, I'm just releasing to return to source or never return here again. And I imagine it just floating as a little golden bubble out of Earth's atmosphere. And I consciously now think a little bit about, well, what does this new Earth, right? This beautiful new world. Hang on, need a reverb for this. Beautiful new world. What does that feel like? I feel we'll probably have a YouTube in the fifth dimension, 5D YouTube, or something like that, some sort of video sharing platform. And yeah, I'd really love to. It's funny, actually, I'm getting glimpses from my higher self is showing me, recalling this video. So my higher self is from the future, is helping me recall this video right now, saying, hey, do you remember that time, Jon, we did that video? And you're able to so clearly and palpably connect in with those fear and anger emotions, and laughing about it, like how dense I had to be down here at this level, which, I don't know, it's quite humbling because I feel like I'm making progress. I'm trying my best. But it's good to feel that in the future. There is a future that all of us are co-creating together, each of us individually. And all we have to do is decide what we want. Do you want, to share content? Do you want an internet in the future? Do you want a civilization of humanity that works out ways that allows us to acknowledge fear, shame, anxiety, pain, suffering, anger, and rage, and actually encourages the release of this energy in a safe way, right? There are far less safe ways of releasing anger and rage, right? You get like the hippie version from me, right? Go outside, scream into nature, give your anger to the wind, hold a glass, like a pint, a glass or a cup against your mouth and go, "Arr!" and like shout into it, scream into a pillow, dance it off, shake it off. One of my favorite bands is Rage Against the Machine, also one of my son's favorite bands. I loved seeing them live. I just play them. Like, I always feel so chill after just 4 or 5 minutes of Rage Against the Machine. And it's that releasing. If you ever wonder why metalheads and people that are into, heavy metal and rock music are so relaxed and chilled people, it's because it's so healthy to release this energy, right? It doesn't make them more angry. You don't listen to a metal song and say, "Oh, I'm so angry now." It's like, yes, I feel so much better afterwards. So yeah, these are some of my tips. And then also, please talk to people. Talk to people. If you notice, right, I noticed this with my loved ones, when we start sharing and talking a bit about anger and rage, most of the conversations we have start in a very low vibration state, and we acknowledge a lot of the things that are going on. We talk about the specifics that we've just learned in the last 24 hours. And then that human part of us starts to draw us to the solutions, and we start feeling like, oh, I need to, like, what, there's something better. There's a better way of doing this. One thing that came at a discussion I was having with my wife yesterday was, it really struck me that our royal family, for example, I personally have not looked at any kind of breakdowns of expenses or where all the money that we give them is spent. And I was thinking, in 5D Earth, I don't know if we'll have a royal family in the UK or not. I just don't know. That will be up to everyone collectively. However, any people of position of a high profile position, including myself, right, at any level, just Jon Binnie, your average dude, or a psychically average dude in Scotland, holding each other accountable, right? I would happily share my expenses. Jon Binnie, breathwork. Jon Binnie drives to Oxfordshire and back. It's like, it might be dull, right, compared to some others, but these are really important to be transparent about and to encourage in each other culturally, and then also to hold each other accountable, right? And it's at every level we can. I do feel our new earth doesn't just have, one rule for rich people and a different rule for others. Like, I definitely feel we're being drawn into a new earth, a co-created earth of equality, love, compassion, abundance, unconditional love, forgiveness, justice in the ever-evolving ways that we'll learn about how to bring justice forwards. So in terms of predictions and messages I've been getting, so just recap on those. We're now at 28th of February today. going into March, please do pay attention to what's going on inside of you, right? And try your best to process, either keep out of, or if you are being drawn into this kind of rage baiting third dimensional trap, process that energy, because it still needs process. It still needs us as humans on Earth to process it and work through it. Remember, March is bringing us intensification a word? It sounds cool. Intensifying of ascension waves. So we know what those are like, right? There are these waves, these ups and downs. So we're often called to rest more. Isn't Mercury in retrograde as well? We're called into resting, self-care, self-love, drinking plenty of water, looking after ourselves, following our joy, not pushing too hard, opening up and receiving. These are all the things that are going on inside of us. So if you're ever drawn into forecasts, psychic forecasts, predictions, they are great fun to do, and they're great fun to explore. And I love, providing my messages and inputs on them. Just remember, the real work, right, is in here. If you want any forecasts and predictions, please do look within yourself. Now, I do have my laptop lovingly just below my camera here, which has your questions. So thank you for submitting your questions. I'm so excited for this. And I'm just going to choose one randomly with making some beep bop sounds. So 1 second. Oops, there goes my headphones. Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep. Okay, making sure the echo's off. Ooh. So this one is from MJ Cronkite. Hi, MJ. If our souls live in past, present, and parallel lives, do our souls come together at some point? Wow, there is a question. Thank you. I love this. So let me just mark that as answered. Okay. Maybe one of my ever increasingly famous spirit guides would like to come forwards and ask. I know they love coming forwards. Okay, Marita, my spirit guide, my mantis guide, yes, with her dancing hands, is coming forwards. Hello, Marita, could you help answer this, please? So Marita says yes. Our souls are a central point of our consciousness. And at the central point of our consciousness, and she has mentioned the word, phrase 0 point a couple of times, and also central point. At the center of our consciousness, there is a spiral, wheel, if you like, where the spokes are in a spiral shape like a galaxy. Because remember that the universe repeats patterns at all scales. So you could imagine this as a snail shell or the size of a galaxy or size of a universe. And she's showing me our soul, a little plasma, bright light plasma sphere in the center. And then these little arcs, these spirals that come off all around the outside, from the center to the outside. And each of these spokes, these spiraling spokes of the wheel of your soul are a lifetime in the past, parallel, present, and future. And at the very ends are a tiny little orb, a little bubble. And these are, at the end of each spoke, these are our incarnations. And at a little point, and it depends, so this is lovely to see, at every spoke that comes from the center of the wheel of your soul, at a different position along it, there's a higher self for each of these. And this is actually your soul star chakra. So the highest chakra, the highest consciousness attributed to each individual incarnation. And Marita's laughing, saying, remember, linear time doesn't exist, right? So you can just suspend your belief of linear time and see that all aspects of you, if there was no such thing as time, Marita says that really you just have multiple incarnations at once. And this is more true than our perception of linear time. And then she says, really what happens is, and this is new to me, right, is that each, she says, imagine that your soul is like a torch. So wherever you shine the beam of your soul's consciousness, it creates this reality around you, including the concept of time, which is more tied to your incarnation, your life force, your perception of the here and now, the present moment. Your soul can do this in multiple in multiple incarnations. So your soul, rather than just sit around going, oh, I'm going to have to wait till John dies until I can incarnate again and learn something else, could do many at the same time, right? So each I don't have a black soul, by the way. This is the only prop I have left. I gave away all my other crystals. This is my black Labradorite. So imagine this is bright white, right? And from each of these are the little spirals, the spoke spirals of for each incarnation. And so at the tip of each of these little spokes, what happens is a bubble is created around each one, and it's a perception of incarnation, space, and time. So it's really in computing terms. I come from my previous career was in software engineering and AI. It's like a way of parallel processing. It's a way of experiencing multiple incarnations at once, so we could learn and experience it, love and learn and live and die in multiple experiences all at the same time. And that's so exciting, right? And I feel it also explains a bit why when I do sessions such as my hidden witch wound sessions for clients, my one-to-one sessions, or I do my most popular quantum psychic healing session, I'll often trace from your heart to your crown, to your soul star chakra, your higher self, and then connect up into your soul and ask things like, what is your life purpose? Or what is this soul? What is the purpose of this individual incarnation? You know, and sometimes it's just as simple as, I'm exploring and I want more growth. Sometimes the soul will say, well, you know, a bit like me, you know, in past lives, I've often been the lone wolf, right? That's not fair in wolves. I've been just very highly autonomous, right? Always do everything the Jon Binnie way. And this lifetime, I feel much more encouraged. My soul is like yearning, just like you saw me in my fantastical February, going out and exploring and meeting more and more people is actually connecting more and being less hermity and less isolated. That's part of my soul's growth. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's the center of my heart, like pulling me. It's like, John, meet more people, live your life. And then at a higher self and human level, it might hear more specifics like, raise the vibrations of billions of hearts. A big part of my mission is to help with supporting you through your life and awakening journeys and so much more. And so there's like those kind of more higher self and human level, as well as John. I want to, continue to live an abundant life, to support my loved ones, my family, to go on loads of camping adventures with them and so much more, as well as balance with my mission. So these are all the kind of different layers of like soul, higher self, and incarnation self levels. So let's go ahead and ask another question. Thank you for your question, MJ Cronkite. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. Okay, this one is from Sharon Witt. Thank you, Sharon. Hello, John. Hello, Patch. Oh, and by the way, thank you everyone for noting, especially last week when I was traveling. Well, week before last, I was traveling and I had quite a few days without Patch. Definitely, I missed him a lot. It's lovely to be back with him. And it reminds me he'll be waking up in a minute to for looking for his walk. So thank you for saying hello to myself and Patch. My question is the use of the word active. Oh, it says activation. I think it must mean activation. I have watched, listened, and experienced your videos regarding many types of activations. I have also experienced spontaneous activations and not known what to do with the energy that comes, in brackets. It is at times overwhelming. The energy feels like a rush of wind. Ooh, I love that. Then the activations of energy that occur when not watching your show is a whole other experience. Could you speak to the safety and grounding during spontaneous activations? Thank you for clarifying. Oh, and let me just read out your emojis. A heart, stars, fire, dragon, rawr, star, heart, and I think a flower at the end, like a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, Sharon. What a beautiful question, and so powerful and so important. And I'd love to get a little bit of help from. I can answer a lot of it, but I'd love to, while we're in a safe space, just to ask one of my spirit guides first. A little coffee. Okay, so let's ask. So my spirit guide Emenchal, the Lyran, has come forwards. And he's holding out his paw, and he's got one of his claws. It would be like, I don't know what you'd call it on a lion or a lyran especially, but like his index finger or claw, just like this. And he's pointing at our hearts. And he says, activations naturally happen to us. The activations are from ourselves, and they happen within ourselves, and that they are a result of being ready for expansion. So he says, for example, when your heart goes through your open heart awakening, this is because there are enough of you, enough of the parts of you. Remember, I was just talking about soul, higher self, your body, your heart, your mind. Enough of these parts of you are ready for the activation. You don't go outside of you to bring in energy or to go and buy an activation. Like, you can't just go into a popular online retailer and purchase your activation. You can't even buy it from me, right? You can't even come to Jon Binnie and say, give me an activation. You can't just say, I would like 2 third eyes. I don't know why I've never thought of that joke. But however, and I must admit, no one's ever asked me for that, right? And I don't just mean that specific request of 2 third eyes. It's more the feeling of going outside of you, because activation, he's just pointing out, he wants to be really, really clear. Emenchal is saying that your activations are a process, a journey within you, and that if they are destined to happen within this lifetime, they will happen, right? You will receive them. That's great news, right? So then so he's talking about some of the foundations to help us understand safety. And so to the question of, perhaps you feel activations in my videos, and then like the 5D Ascension classes, or a one-to-one session with me, like a quantum psychic healing session, or my newer service as well, which is the heart chakra dragon fire activation service as well, or my higher self training classes. So these different kind of vehicles, if you like, these modalities for me supporting people in activations, absolutely, yes, I obsess about a nice safe space. And I always create a safe space, and I offer within that space a nurturing and cultivating experience, right? Never to push you to a level where you don't feel ready for it, right? And so this is what Emenchal is saying now so he's showing this claw, and he's tapping on my heart. And he says, the unsafe way of doing this, or an unsafe way of doing this, is by triggering and forcing an activation. Oh, sorry, that's so sore. Okay, Michelle, thank you. Thank you. Take that energy out of me. I really I felt it. That was so painful. I literally just was tapping my fingers so gently, but it was the energy of it. It's like, it literally felt like I was being stabbed in my, into my chest. Okay, thank you. That's gone now. Thank you. Wow, that's horrible. So he's saying, if you engage with a practitioner who's more focused on a result of you going through some, especially a powerful experience, and perhaps pushing you to a level where you're not comfortable with an activation, like opening your third eye when you're not ready, then that's what it feels like. It feels like you're kind of triggered into it. You're like, oh my God, you're like pushed into it. And your body's not ready, right? It borderlines on you not having enough consent, or maybe even any consent within you to be ready to go ahead and activate. And I was speaking to a friend recently, and I had experiences of this. It was in the 90s, actually, of the few times that I did take back then when I took drugs such as LSD, acid. I was like, I'm sure the first time I took it, my body went through a Kundalini awakening. So I felt up the back of my spine, just sat in my living room with friends. I'm sure we were like drinking and smoking and things I used to do to myself then. And I was lucky to be in a relatively, I was with friends in a relatively safe environment. My body started jolting and all this energy. It felt like liquid flowing up and down my spine. I was going through a Kundalini activation. That was really unnerving to me. And it was really unnerving to my friends as well. I was saying, wow, this drug is really powerful. I didn't understand. I was not, I was physically safe. I was in safe company. Energetically, I was absolutely not safe, right? And compared to how I would consider safety now, over 26, 27 years later, or a bit more, probably 28 years later, now I would see that as a really, horrific thing to put my body through. My body was not ready. John's consciousness was not ready for it. I remember the experiences I had at the time were very ungrounding for me. I didn't have it wasn't the John you see in front of you today. I didn't have the mental or emotional capabilities to process those experiences. And a lot of it I just attributed to the drug, and then got a little bit obsessed about it for a few months, and then stopped. And then it kind of dissipated, and I, moved on with my life, especially as I went into my software career. So there's these aspects, whether it's through, because I know some people, will use plant medicines, or they'll use other drugs, whether they're legal or not, or they'll go on YouTube and, in other video platforms, or training courses, or go to retreats, or have one-to-one sessions or group sessions with people who really bring forward this kind of brute force approach to activations that maybe you're not ready for it, right? And I get it, right? Just like back in the 90s, I was so hungry. I didn't even understand what I wanted. I was like Neo at the beginning of the Matrix movies, but he didn't even know what the Matrix, but he didn't even know there was a Matrix, right? At least when Neo starts in the Matrix movies, he knows there is a Matrix. He doesn't know what it is or where it is. Back then, I just wanted to know more about the full spectrum, the full nature of reality. And I was convinced there was more to reality than just this third dimension. And wow, I certainly experienced a lot, but I wasn't ready. My body wasn't ready. I mentally and physically wasn't ready to receive. And that's why I kind of panicked and went through a shutdown. And then here we are 28 years later, far more comfortable to be able to, now I have nice, strong foundations. So I'll just ask Em and Shell for his advice, and I'll give a little bit of my advice. He says, always safety first. He says, whenever you feel like you're pushing and you're feeling frustrated, he says, follow those. So when you're frustrated about something not activating, for example, your third eye is really common. People want to open, they want to see before they feel, smell, hear, know, sense, like all these other senses. He says, whenever you feel those feelings of frustration, follow those feelings, follow where they lie. They are a form of fear, and you wanting to push through a barrier. You're wanting to push through into an activation. And he says, the reason the activation hasn't happened yet is because you haven't built a strong enough foundation to support that activation. So, for example, if your heart is in fear and closed, then you will, your third eye doesn't want to open, right? It's like, if I start showing Jon like all the shadow figures and ghosts that I see today, right? I just did my first paranormal investigation on Monday. I just released the full video and extended footage last night. It's like I was not ready for that 28 years ago, right? Talking to ghosts, light and dark, and everything in between. Having strong boundaries, all those things, all those activations. Jon needed to mature significantly before I could yield and allow that activation to fully open up. So Em and Shell's pointing me now at all the foundations. So a great way of building your foundations is please connect with my they're free, right? 5D Ascension classes. I do them every 2 weeks. So every second week on YouTube. There's a playlist on the homepage of my website. It's also linked from jonbinnie.com and getting started with Jon. You'll see a link in there to 5D Ascension class playlist. You just go through the replays, right? So they're an hour class, and each time you go through it, you'll start with mindfulness meditation, what I call spirit guide meditations, connecting with your spirit guides. You'll learn about shadow work, about being able to open up and scan each of your chakras, clear negative energy, protect yourself, and then you're ready to work on the activations. If you skip all those things, right, and then just jump straight into an activation, even within a safe space, your body's not really going to be ready. And it's not going to, it's much riskier, to activate parts of you when the rest of you isn't ready. Your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, what you consciously consume, eat, your exercise, your shadow work practices, your protection, all these things, if they're not in place, it's much riskier. And then secondly, you're much less likely to hold the activation. Your third eye might open up for a little bit, and it might be quite a traumatic experience, and then it'll close down. And then you feel like you've taken an even further step back, like, well, I had it open, and then things went wrong, right? So you can also sign up for my higher self foundational training. That starts, so that's a paid training course. And then the big difference with the higher self foundational training courses is that they are part of an 8-week Zoom call led training program. So I only have up to 8 people in the class. So you get to know everyone pretty well over the 8 weeks. And we all go through this together. I don't know how many times I've run it so far, 5 or 6, maybe 7 times. And I love doing it. So yeah, just checking the dates for that, because there is still spaces. I'm not advertising them yet, other than mentioning them in videos. It does kick off on July 29th. And it's an hour Zoom call every week, plus the training material to work through and a private chat with the class members. So excited. If you're interested in that, just visit jonbinnie.com and go to the training section of the website. If you have any issues, just email john@jonbinnie.com. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I really love the frequency breadth of today's video. Thank you for staying around for an hour and 15 minutes. Let's bring our session to an end, thanking our guides, our higher selves. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Source and Gaia, Sol and Luna, and every soul that's participated in today's session, and asking each of us to step outside of the shared space and remain in our individual protective bubbles for as long as we choose, and just helping clear up any of that low vibration energy we've been releasing as well, making sure it's all captured in here, that anger, rage, anything else, and return to Source or never return here again. Please drink as much water as it feels right, get as much rest as your body tells you you need, and take good care of yourself. I'll be back. I'm here every day on YouTube. I'll be back. I'm here every day with messages, music. You can book me one-to-one sessions. It probably appeared down here or something. My 5-day Ascension classes, other prediction videos and practices. And subscribe, like, comment, share, hype me, please. Please check you are subscribed. YouTube's been playing a few games with my subscriptions, so please do just check that you've hit the notification bell as well and you get all my latest content. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow in videos, and I'm back on Monday live with the wonderful Viviane Heller. Take care, everyone. Sending so much love.